just want to inform everyone that the story about William Pretyman is not new. The photo, some of you have seen it, it's not new. It's been around for a very long time. But tonight is the first time when we assemble all the 72 pieces of the photo, and then we divided it into teams, and something fascinating happened. Actually, it tells a very interesting story. Why we chose William Pretyman? Because this is a period where 1878, 1880, where we in North Borneo haven't established any form of government just yet. Okay, I'm a member of Malaysia Historical Society. I'm also a member of Working Institute, working together, partnership with GAL. I have a group of penjejak sejarah. They are a group of people who visit villages and try to acquire information where we can compare to the primary source that we have, and that is Borneo history, founded by me almost 20 years ago. All right, let's start. So this is an important map. I start with history first. This is actually the diagram that was used back in 1877, back 1878. You will see the blue line was a treaty signed between the Brunei Sultanate and our back. The number 1, number 2, the blue line. And then if you see the red color line, that is the treaty signed between our back and the Sulu. So if you look at it, in actual fact, the boundary was, the first treaty was from Sulaman to Paitan Bay. If I press here, Sulaman and Paitan, so that was the treaty. We will tell you stories, how many areas that was handed over to Overbeck and then. And then number 2 will be from Paitan and Sibuko. I want to share also, we cannot follow the current map of which went Overbeck and then came over to North Borneo, because the map was different, in terms of territory was different. And if you look at the middle of this map, it was considered terra nullius at that time, which is considered no man's land, but of course there are people over that side. And if you notice, there are people on the east coast. There are people on the east coast, and this is of course the west coast. Why I choose this map? Because this is the first earlier diagram of which how Overbeck and then look at North Borneo at that time. And if you notice, it's not just one treaty on this side, 2 second treaty on this side. They have several treaty over this side, which is the Papa River, the Bongeni, the Kemanis, the Krias, and the Padas. Okay? And why is this relevant to William Pretyman? Because this treaty dated 1877, 1878. I will show you some of the treaty. The first one just now is Sulaman. The second one is Sibuku. So back in 1877, there is not one treaty was signed. There are 4 treaties signed for different regions. So meaning from the west coast to the east coast. So Brunei actually given away both west coast and east coast back in 1877. So, and all this is the treaty. This is a copy of all the treaty. All 4, and then this is for Kimani. And this is the infamous Sulu Treaty, which is dated 22nd January 1878. Again, why this treaty related to the painting? Because the painting was done in 1878 to 1880. So I will show you some other information here. So let me introduce you who is William Pretyman. So William Pretyman, born in 1849, he passed away in 1920, the first president of Tempasuk. So when they signed the treaty just now that you saw, three officers were appointed. One will be William Pryor to cover the Sandakan area. And we have another H.L. Lister cover the Papar area. And then we have this gentleman, Mr. William Pretyman, not William Pretyman, but somebody mentioned Ladyman, but not Ladyman. It's William Pretyman. And of course, H.L. Lister, when he managed Papar at the time, it was a very short period. He was later replaced by Everett. But William Pretyman, I bring a copy of his diary here today. Somebody can pass around the diary, green color. You can all flip the story, which is very interesting story because when he arrived in Tempasuk with his assistant, actually the first few weeks they wanted to go back either to wherever they come from. Actually, they wanted to move out from Tempasuk. The state was in a state of anarchy. The Bajau killed the Bajau, the Dusun killed the Dusun, and the Iranan killed Iranan, and Bajau killed, according to his diary. And he mentioned something like reported case every day, one person died during that period, which is in 1877, 1878, 1870. So this is a person from Britain and come over here and he saw this side of anarchy, but the side of administration, the lawlessness and what not actually happened. And he was born in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire, England, to Reverend John and Emilia Pretyman. He traveled widely in his youth, meeting his wife, American Jenny Remington. He represents the Maharaja of Overbeck and British Company. If you look in the diary as well, he represents the Maharaja and the British Company. British Company at that time should be Oda, Overbeck Dam Association in Borneo, and reportedly single-handedly established Oda, not in North Borneo, but actually in Tempasuk, North Borneo. And he was said to be a founder who started Tamil Kota Belum. Of course, the indigenous people will always come back to us. No, it's not the Orang Putih started the Tamil. We already started the Tamil. We call it Mogil Bandi. So, of course, in this today, we just give him a little bit of credit, William Pretyman. And then among other things is his work. You can see some of his work here. I bring about 10 of his work. About 72 of them, about 27 of them is watercolor. The rest are actually pencil sketches. And we believe that the original painting is now still kept at the National Archive. I don't know if anybody can correct me that one. And then he chooses subject matter thematic approach, use of metaphor, making his picture, sketches, watercolor. Somebody told me painting actually a person daring. So that's the reason why today I will ask you to look at the photo, but look at it not as just the beauty of the photo, but again, look at the photo and the painting, the sketches, as what is he trying to tell us what actually happened during that particular day. So we divided his painting, the 72 painting and sketches, into 5 themes. One is the landscape. Secondly will be the flora and fauna. Thirdly will be the village and house scene, still life nature, human activity, people, and other sketches. We start with the landscape. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you to my daughter, Heather, who have done this beautiful presentation. Okay, so this is a board on, look at the date of the map dated 1877-1878. So meaning William Pretyman already in North Borneo back in 1878, which is coincidentally the date of the lease or the handover of North Borneo by British and the Zulu Sultanate to the Overbeck and then. So this is one of the photo, which is Mount Kinabalu. This is Tawi-Tawi Mainbom Sulu. So what I'm going to share here is, meaning he traveled to Mainbom and Tawi-Tawi, dated 1879. And that is the scene that he saw in Tawi-Tawi. So Tawi-Tawi is actually an island towards Sulu. This is also another sea, watercolor, sea and mountain, dated June 1878. This is also another beautiful painting. The most northern point of North Borneo. So most northern point of North Borneo should be somewhere in Kota Maludu. This is quite famous. I've seen this quite a number of times. Of course, other publications also I saw that they use this watercolor background. It's a river and mountain dated 1877-1878. This is also quite exquisite, very beautiful, off Tempasuk River, Borneo, dated June 1878. So meaning that was Tempasuk. Again, this is a water street, April 1878 in Brunei, Borneo. So later on, you will notice I mentioned that he was in Tawi-Tawi, he was in Tempasuk, and he was now in Brunei. And this was the Sultan Palace. If you notice, this is the Sultan Palace. How he will sit here, the palace will be behind, but when visitor visited the Sultan back then, he will sit here and the boat will surround this area and the dignitary will come up and visit the Sultan over this side. So this is one of actually quite interesting sketches of which tell how Brunei ruled back then in 1878, which is almost the end of their peak, you know. So now we know that he traveled to Kinabalu, which is in June 1878. Another Mount Kinabalu sketches. 14,000. It was 14,000 feet at that time, according to me. That was 14,000 then? 1400. Of course, later on, a lot of people feel a bit disappointed because it doesn't go higher than 14,000. Actually, it goes down below 14,000. Probably because of the earthquake and whatnot. But it's quite beautiful and exquisite drawing, pencil sketches. We have another drawing of the mountain, dated 30th of March from Tempasuk. We actually never seen the entire collection, so all of you here tonight will be very privileged to see the entire collection. This is a sketch of the mountain, that's 1877-1878. If you notice what is the CO10695419, actually that's the file number in the National Archive. So now we also know he visited Kimani along the way to what this is dated January 1878. This date actually quite interesting because that is the date when Sultan Sulu signed the treaty. Another watercolor scenery, very scenic, very romantic, few colors, dated 1878. He liked fields and mountains. So all this watercolor around 27. So I believe the mountain give him a bit of peace and calmness in order for him to, to do all these sketches. Another field and mountain that 1877, 1878. And then this is a sketches that he did. Some sketches of fish, houses and boat. This is pretty interesting. The painters Edward, but this Edward comes from the name of George Edward, who was the governor of the Crown Colony in Labuan. So the painters was discovered by Hugh Slow and Spencer St. John back in 1858. He's a cadaverous specimen, and this is a painting back in May 1879. So he loved to show another picture of the Nepenthes Edwardi, a few photos of beautiful Nepenthes. Okay. And this is a photo of Upas tree, and if you want to turn it, it's actually a photo of somebody looking at the other side. But it's pretty interesting. What is Upas tree all about? Upas tree is actually a tree, it's quite poisonous. So I believe the reason why he want to draw this sketch, because he want to tell people that this is a tree where the sap is actually, the juice actually quite poisonous. So he's telling story. He's not here, so I will tell people on his behalf. This is pretty interesting because this is a painting of coconut, but he titled this coconut King Coconut, and it was taken, the painting was, he did the painting in Sulu Island. I do not know which king he referred to, but he's a king coconut, King. Yeah, king coconut. White and yellow jasmine growing. So this is another sketches. He put a knot, create sweet smelling, and it lasted for 3 days. So if you want original perfume, back then you only can last 3 days. You need to put a lot of jasmine around your house. Another bunch of fruit in Labuan. This is the head of wild cattle. This is the head. So they already slaughtered the cattle, but he find it quite fascinating, so he drew it. Sketching. This is another water buffalo. So water buffalo is an interesting specimen for him to actually draw. Another buffalo, another fighting buffalo, and last and not least, he mentioned the buffalo is our state in Borneo. We move on to the theme of village and housing scene. So he loved to draw this house, building. He traveled as far as Limbang River, which is near Brunei. And I believe this is a Dayak house, a log house, made in 1877 and 78. Another sketches of house at Sulu Island. This is how he described Sulu at the time. hierarchical village of my Bongsu. So this is how he looked like in Sulu back then compared to Brunei. So we can make comparison how he described Brunei and how he described Sulu, and it probably answers why there is a need of two treaties done back in 1877 and back in 1878. This is a water street in Brunei Borneo. Again, that is a flag raised by Brunei somewhere here. They are already using different type of material. You can see another painting. You notice just now one is sketches, and now he developed it with watercolor or the same sketches. So meaning he made duplicate of the sketches. One just pencil sketches, the other one he tried to color it. This is at Maimbo, that is the scenery back then in 1878. If you notice, the date is 27 January 1878. That is almost close to the signing of the territory, the list with Sulu Sultan. That is 1878. Another painting. You can see it here now, house upriver Borneo. I'm not very sure which upriver Borneo, should be somewhere on the east coast or west coast. But you can see a replica of the photo over this side. For your information, we bring about 10 replica of the photos, and we will all be donated to the Sabah Society today by me. Not to sell, it's actually donated up to our president. We want to handle with this painting.
What happened to the original?
Original still kept in the National Archive.
I see.
I believe if anybody attended our last talk by somebody from the British Museum, some of these this photo, I don't know when arrived here, probably 100 years ago. We do not know whether he can still exist until today, you know.
Right.
So there are good pro and cons why they kept the photo over the other side. But if this photo was kept here for the last 100 over years, we would never have the opportunity to see these photos. Same goes to some of the artifacts that they bring over the other side. Some people ask why we don't repatriate back the artifact. But again, whether we have the capability, the technology, know-how, whether we have everything in place to take care of that artifact, you know. Okay. So this is another drawing of the Sulu house in Maimbo. A large hut in Sandakan back in 1879. Yeah, after this is a Q&A. You can ask any question, even not related to, but within that same period, we can, not related to the William Pretyman painting, but related to that period. I try my very best to answer. This is so this is about houses, villages, and building theme. So William Pretyman is trying to tell us that he visited that place, he drew that building, and that was the reflection or the description of the building during that particular time. The next one will be this one, Still Life Nature. Not so many. You will see Borneo jungle here. I don't know whether this is the one, the Borneo jungle. He visited some of the jungle. So this could be the tree trunk. Is it? This is the one, the tree trunk? It's quite dark, but I don't know how you want to look at it. Probably if we put some lights on it, you can see the tree trunk. But what you can actually notice there are people there next to the tree trunk. So what he's trying to tell us, it could be that how big was the tree back then. Yeah, it could be a huge tree back then. He also draw native bridge. Probably he liked the technology, engineering back then, you know. He was we also, so this is bridge at Lotut. If you say Lotut, it could be somewhere near Tuareg. Lotut could be the Lotut tribe. So he also quite fascinated how was the engineering of the bridge back then. This is November 1879. This is fishware, Brunei. In Bahasa we call it kelong. So where they trap all the fish, and the fish will go to one direction, and that's how you harvest the fish somewhere near the seaside. Okay. Now we're moving on to the fifth theme, which is human activity. Not so many, about 5 only. One will be man fishing with his net submerged. Look at these people and how they back then. The next one, I love this photo the most compared to the rest. If you notice, it's an Xmas Day 1877. A lot of people does not realize. I know where they're going because they're going to Brunei. He mentioned it. But again, what is so significant about Christmas Day 1877 and Brunei was the date when William Pretyman signed the treaty with the Brunei, which is in 1877, Christmas Day, on the 29th December, if I'm not mistaken, 4 days after Christmas. So a lot of people don't notice this, but to me, this was quite fascinating, it's quite historical, and he's trying to tell people, I was one of the person who actually witnessed, in person, not witnessed in signing of the treaty with the Brunei. This is how the Sultan got his water supply. So he got his slab fetching water for Brunei, so they will fill up the jar with water, and they will transport this water jar to the houses in the water village in Brunei. And if you notice the date, 31st October in 1877, 2 days, two months before they are signing the treaty with Brunei. He liked to sketch. I believe he tried a few techniques here, not so visible, but still there. And this is supposed to go to the buffalo corner, but again, this is how he described. He traveled back then in 1977, 1878. There was a diagram on top, and you can see his chalk here, William Pretyman. He tried to draw faces now, and this is a person by the name of Rajab, and he was his interpreter. Actually, if you look at the diary, if you read the diary, he replaced a few interpreters because he suspects some of the interpreter was spy, sent by somebody. So he go and replace some of the interpreters, and that's the description of their face back then. I do not know why Sudan Whether this gentleman come from Sudan all the way, we do not know, but that's what he mentioned. You can see this in Facebook, somebody also posted it. Actually, he was a prisoner on board of HS Alliance. His name is Kiro. So if you can see, people go to jail, they take photograph back then, but now if you go to prison, they will will sketch your face. Quite accurate sketches back then. Another sketch here, inhabitant of Central Borneo, a Mohammedan in a Kinabatangan, that's how their face look like. Which to me quite fascinating as well, because he described how those people look like in the absence of camera back then. So this is the cousin of the Sultan. I don't know why he go and draw it. Probably he was fascinated on how he dresses and probably the weapon as well. He tried his talent in Jawi, Palace of Sultan of Sulu. And last but not least, a sentry on guard, the Palace of Sultan of Sulu. So he had his rifle there. It's a sentry. This is January 1878. And this date also quite fascinating. It complements the same date of the treaty that I showed from the very beginning, which is the treaty with the Zulu. So meaning, William Pretyman tried to tell us he was there, or he will, if he can scribble, I was there. That's it. Okay, we move on. Last, this is some of the other sketches that he made. Some of these you actually seen it, but again, this is the first time we compile all 72 together. We show it, and then later on we'll share some summary. What is our opinion on the entire collection? So this is some boats, houses, monocraft, multiple drawing. Also boats. If you realize, this is that one. If you realize, back then the chartered company either they tax this boat or they do not allow some boat with this travel around our water because it's considered much more faster depending on the wind compared to the steam ship or the coal ship. So some of these boats later on was prohibited to travel because they're quite fast compared to the wind, depending on the wind. This is the swan of State Sultan of Sulu. 18 January 1878, which is the second treaty. This is basket of fox head, Borneo 1877. Another famous, you have seen this a number of times. In Equate Parangiram, headhunter sword, property of acting Governor William Pretyman, July 1879. So this is interesting also because he mentioned something about pirate craft captured in Tempasuk. So it gives a question, who was the pirate? Who was the pirate in Tempasuk? Because we know there was the island in Tempasuk, there is a Belinging in Tempasuk. We know the Baja also in Tempasuk. So who was the pirate in Tempasuk back then? This is another engineering feat that he's quite interested, native sugar press. Two boats in the water. Another Malindo boat to travel. It looked like Orang Laut's boat, but again, was dated in 1877, 1878. last photo of the day, will be 8 sketches of boats, various type, design, with flag, with mast, and whatnot. So the summary, what you have seen today, thank you everyone. Actually over 70 original, actually 72 original pencil sketches and watercolor painting, of which have a special place in the story of our local art history. Not just art history, but in actual fact part of our history, of which a lot of people will never realize it when you only look at one or two of the photo, but when you assemble all the 72 sketches in the water, it tells you actually a brief story what actually happened before North Borneo formed their government in 1881 when they obtained their charter. Among the upper echelon of society back in 18th century Great Britain, sketches and painting are actually, you must be quite proficient in painting. Among other artistic disciplines, was a sign of having received a well-rounded education. That's why you notice when they came over here, the colonial officers like Hatton, for example, or Whitty, they are actually good sketches artists, you see. In the absence of camera back then, the art of sketches or watercolor is actually an important art, especially to illustrate makers, to document and illustrate used by British map makers, engineers, age of exploration and colonization. It is no coincidence that ordinary North Borneo people were first exposed to pencil sketches and water-based media such as watercolors during colonial era. The British brought with them their influence, including artistic, naturalistic representation of reality through their education system. William Pretyman was also prolific as a writer and an amateur painter, where he documented his journey, the surrounding terrain, the local immigrant movement, and their activity. So I told somebody today, the entire collection, 72 sketches and watercolor, in actual fact telling us a story about early North Borneo, how it was administered back in before 1881, and it's a story about transition period between Sultan of Brunei, Sultan of Sulu, to a new form of government, which is later on known as British North Borneo Chartered Company. And I'm quite honored and quite happy to see the entire collection, because it tells us a story. It's not just how beautiful the watercolor and beautiful sketches, but it tells us a story about how it was back then in 1877 and 1878. Somebody told me that paintings and watercolors, sometimes, if you compare as many as this tonight that we share with you, is actually a reflection and a description of somebody's death. And that's the end. Thank you.